Welcome to Part 2 of the ISO 9712 presentation. In this part, terms and definitions used in this standard will be covered in detail, which will help in understanding this standard clearly. Please like the presentation and subscribe to our channel in order to get the regular updates. Now let's move on to the next slide. The first definition is about Authorized Qualification Body. AQB is an independent body that does not have any relationship with the employer. AQB is authorized by the certification body to prepare and administer qualification examinations, meeting the requirements of this standard. AQB is audited against the requirements and will be under the full control of certification body. Let's talk about basic examination. Basic examination at level 3 is an one-time examination, which you need to pass before you appear for method level 3 exam. Basic examination is conducted in 3 parts. Part A will consist of 25 questions from materials science and process technology and types of discontinuities. Part B will consist of 10 questions from the specific qualification and certification system, ISO 9712. Part C will consist of 60 questions from the basic principles of NDT methods, as required for Level 2. Candidate is an individual seeking qualification and certification, who gains experience under the supervision of personnel, having a qualification acceptable to the certification body. Very important thing to note here is, the candidate has to gain experience under the supervision of personnel, who should hold appropriate qualification which is acceptable to certification body. So, what is a certificate? It is a document issued by the certification body to a candidate on his individual name, who has demonstrated the competence defined on the certificate. The competency is derived through both theoretical and practical examinations in the appropriate method. What is certification? It is a procedure used by the certification body to confirm that the qualification requirements for a method, level and sector have been fulfilled, leading to the issuing of a certificate. Who is the certification body? It is the body that administers procedures for certification according to specified requirements. Employer. Employer can be candidate himself or an organization for which the candidate works on a regular basis. Examination Center. Examination Center shall be approved by the certification body, where qualification examinations are carried out. The Examination Center will function as Authorized Examination Center, AEC, that can conduct qualification examinations. Examiner. Examiner is a person who is certified to Level 3 in the method and product or industrial sector. Examiner should be authorized by the certification body to conduct, supervise and grade the qualification examination. Examiner will be responsible for overall conduct of the examination. General examination. General exam is an objective type written exam at Level 1 or Level 2, covering the principles of an NDT method. Industrial experience. Experience shall be gained under qualified supervision in the application of the NDT method in the sector concerned. It has to be acceptable by the certification body. Experience shall meet the required skill and knowledge to fulfill the provisions of qualification. A person who is authorized by the certification body to supervise examinations is called as Invigilator. Job-specific training. It is a kind of training provided by the employer to the certificate holder, specific to the employer's products, NDT equipment, NDT procedures, and applicable codes, standards, specifications, and procedures. Once the candidate completes this job-specific training, he will given an authorization to operate or work in that particular NDT method. Main method examination. Main method is a written examination at Level 3, which demonstrates the candidate's knowledge in 3 parts. Part D covers general knowledge in the particular NDT method. Part E covers the specific knowledge based on sector. Part F covers the ability to write NDT procedures for the NDT method in sector. Most of them would be aware of multiple choice questions. Each question will have 4 answers, out of which one has to be correct. NDT instruction. Instruction is the precise steps to be followed in testing of a component to an established standard, code, specification, or NDT procedure, written by Level 2 for a Level 1. NDT method. Method is a discipline applying a physical principle in non-destructive testing. For example, ultrasonic testing, radiographic testing. NDT procedure. It is a detailed, step-by-step description to test the product in accordance with standards, codes, or specifications. NDT technique. Technique related to a particular NDT method. For example, immersion ultrasonic testing. NDT training. It is a process of instruction, covering both theory and practical, to a syllabus approved by the certification body.
Operating authorization. So it is a written statement issued by the employer based upon the scope of certification, authorizing the individual to carry out defined tasks. An already certified individual, when he goes for the job, the employer gives a job specific training depending on the components they are using, the codes they are using, acceptance criteria they are using. Once he successfully completes the job specific training, he will be issued an authorization to operate in that particular NDT method. Practical examination, assessment of practical skills in which the candidate demonstrates familiarity with and ability to perform the test. That means during the examination, you will be given a component, you will be asked to test and check for the discontinuities, what is there inside the component, and report it against the acceptance criteria. Qualification is a demonstration of physical attributes, knowledge, skill, training, and experience required to properly perform NDT tasks. Qualification examination. So this is an examination which is administered by the certification body or by the authorized qualifying body, generally to assess your general skills, which talks about the NDT method, any specific NDT method which you are going to take the examination, and a specific exam which talks about the codes, acceptance criteria, etc., and the practical knowledge and skill of the candidate. Qualified supervision. So supervision of candidates gaining experience by NDT personnel certified in the same method. That means a person who wants to attend the magnetic particle testing, so he has to be under the supervision of the person who is already certified in MT, or else by a non-certified personnel who, in the opinion of a certification body, possess the knowledge, skill, training, and experience required to properly perform such supervision. As I have already told you in the starting, it is a sector-based examination. ISO 9712 is. So sector means it can be either a product sector or industry sector. Product sector, it can be wells, casting, forging, composites. Industry sector can be aerospace, railways, in-service testing, etc. Significant interruption. That means you have not worked for a particular amount of time due to any possible reasons. So it is nothing but the absence or a change of activity which prevents the certified individual from practicing the duties corresponding to the level in the method and the sector within the certified scope, either for a continuous period of 1 year or 2 or more periods of a total time exceeding 2 years. So in this, the legal holidays, the period of sickness, or when you're attending the courses less than 30 days are not taken into account. Specific examination. So this examination is a written examination at level 1 or level 2. So which includes the knowledge of products to be tested, codes and standards, procedures, and acceptance criteria. Specification is nothing but a document stating the requirements. Specimen. Specimen is a sample used in the practical examination. which is a representative of the product typically tested in the applicable sector. So the specimen can include more than one area or volume to be tested. So whatever the specimen which is involved in the examination should have a specimen master report, which should include a defined set of conditions. For example, equipment type, settings, techniques, specimen, then defects, acceptance criteria, then interpretation, the total test report. Supervision is nothing but an act of directing the application of entity performed by other entity personnel, which includes the control of actions involved in the preparation of test, performance of the test, and reporting of the results. So the complete conduct of the test from the preparation to the reporting of results. Validation, it is an act of demonstrating that the verified procedure works in practice and fulfill its intended function, normally achieved by actual witnessing, demonstration, field or laboratory test or selected trials. So it's nothing but a procedure qualification. Renewal is a procedure for revalidation of a certificate without examination at any time up to 5 years after success in an initial, supplementary or recertification examination. Recertification, so it is a revalidation of the certificate by examination or by otherwise satisfying criteria, a certification body that the published criteria for recertification are satisfied. So that completes the terms and definitions part. Now we'll see what is the acronyms or the abbreviated terms which is used for different methods in this ISO standard. So acoustic emission testing is AT, leak testing LT, magnetic testing MT, radiography testing is RT, and it ends with visual testing as VT. So this comes to the end of the part 2 of the presentation. So this terms and definitions, surely it will help you to understand very much detail when we cover it later in the other parts. Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience listening. Signing off, Kumaran from ANSA, Chennai.